Okay, let's call this meeting
Okay, but
to
I just
order.
wanted-
Yeah,
I
thank
told
you.
you, I mentioned that before, but we don't get
Do
it.
we have any questions or comments regarding the minutes of September 11th?
I had a comment, general business, item number 3. The sentence starting, GS provided an update on the town farm, noting a tree removal was needed. So I'd like to continue that sentence with, and the tree was removed by the highway department. Then other future maintenance issues will be reported, period. Community Preservation Act funds have been awarded to cover the anticipated costs.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Do we need to approve the minutes?
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. I'm moving too quickly. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And this time, I'm checking carefully. Thank you.
That's fine. Easy to count.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report. Our general expense account has $1,229. The town farm expense account, $1,400. WHC trust account, $18,690.27. Town farm trust, $7,132.71. And Wolf Pit School Trust, $8,085.38. There was a small payment made from the town farm expense account, I think on the, of the town farm trust account on the order of $150, I think, just to make up the difference for what was budgeted in the CPC grant for the water heater replacement.
I
And
thought
what
that
was,
was gonna come from the regular fund now.
you're right, it came from the regular fund, the town farm expense account. You're right, not the trust account. Thank you. That's
Okay.
all.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a minute to spare. Do we have in the monitor's reports?
I have one.
Yeah.
Kit Wise asked Carol and I to come and look at his slight change in his roof line that he was making in his garage.
Okay,
And we both saw it and approved it. It was very minor.
okay. Good to know.
I filed it in his
Yeah, I was
file.
gonna say,
He gave us
yes.
a new plan, which we signed,
Very
and I
good.
put it into the WHC files for
Great,
his address.
thank you. Okay, what?
That's 7 Windward Way.
Okay, our first item of business is to consider whether or not to vote to reconsider and revote on the application for a certificate of appropriateness submitted with respect to 2038 Main Road, in an attempt to lay to rest any confusion or misunderstanding with respect to that decision. Is this something we want to do?
Is it something that I wasn't involved in any of the conversations, so if you're looking for a vote for me today, it would be a little strange for me to vote on it.
Well, did you, I don't suppose you saw the tape of that meeting?
No.
No. I can tell you there was confusion about the decision. I thought we had 4 votes in favor. It turns out we only had 3. And so it did not pass. But there's a lot of back and forth on this, especially because I didn't discover the mistake until maybe the meeting had closed, maybe not. Even that's an open issue. It was a very hectic meeting.
Rod, what is the legal aspect of it? We can do that. We can reconsider.
We can, yep, I've got authorization from the town council, who says, in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, If a decision is unclear, or if there's just confusion surrounding it,
Mhm.
you can reconsider and revote.
Okay.
Actually, he said you can just re-vote, but my feeling was, given that everything we do requires input from
Right.
people, other people, it would only be appropriate to reconsider and re-vote.
That means that butters would be sent notices.
Butters would be sent notices, the
Mhm.
owners would be sent notices,
Yeah.
yeah.
And at that point, then, Michael could review the tape then.
He would, I mean, if we're
Before that.
reconsidering it,
If- no, I
he
mean-
can, if he shows up to next month's meeting, then he could look at the plans and ask his questions and hear the discussion.
So originally, it was voted down.
There were 3 votes in favor, but as you may or may not know, our bylaws require 4 votes in favor for anything to pass, and there were only 5 people present at that meeting.
So technically, they should be going back and working with their plans again and coming back with something?
I don't believe they're going to come back with anything different.
They
So-
had already revised, I think, 2 other times.
Yeah,
They
I mean,
tabled a vote
yeah.
and revised, came back
yeah,
with what they thought was their final plan. They insisted on taking a vote that night,
that's correct,
and we took the vote.
that's correct,
We had 5 people,
yeah,
3 voted yes, 2 voted no.
yes.
So they would come back presumably in December with the exact same plans.
But they don't have to,
Or-
quite frankly. I mean, once we've given them notice, it's up to them.
Meaning they don't have to come back and
With,
present again?
with the same plan.
They will have to come back and we will have a debate, a hearing.
I can't guarantee that they'll show up, quite frankly.
Mhm.
So we would then vote on whatever the file has.
But the idea is, as I'm sure we're all aware, we are being sued over this. And one of the more likely remedies to be offered would be to reconsider and revote, especially if you're considering open meeting law claims of violation.
Have they
So-
agreed to, the applicant agreed to this?
They're aware of it. I
Mhm.
assume they'll be here, but I can't, everything's on the table.
Mhm. Well, there would be no reason not to do that, right?
Right.
I mean, we have no reason not to go ahead with this.
Well, except if the feeling was, no, we made our decision and we're gonna live and die by it. But I don't feel strongly about it one way or the other.
Well, if the issue is that we feel that a mistake was made in the vote,
Not
then,
that a mistake was made, but that the outcome was unclear,
Mhm.
and there was misunderstanding based on that.
I'm just wondering, I'm wondering about, like invoking the entire process again, applicants, abutters, being notified, possible new plans. I mean, that seems beyond the scope of just redoing our vote.
Well, maybe it won't be new plans. I
Yeah.
expect it won't be. And
Um,
maybe we should say it should be the same plans, and then we can discuss new plans at that meeting if that's, I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think,
quite frankly, we're not wedded to plans. I mean, 7 Windward Way just came back with a change of plan,
Mhm.
what happens is we're always reconsidering either
Mhm.
in a meeting or prior to a meeting.
right.
So I don't think that's the standard we have to live by.
Yeah, but what I'm concerned about is, I mean, is this a continuation of the application? Or is this just a revote?
We suggested
It's
well,
not a continuation.
there was a problem. It wasn't it was
It's
not a continuation.
It's a
Mhm.
revote.
It's a revote.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, I don't think we need any input from the applicants, from abutters. I mean,
I
that would
would
be,
be-
that would be a continuation.
I would be loath to do this
Mhm,
without notifying abutters.
mhm.
You know, everything, I'm trying to do everything we do above board
Right,
in
yep.
accordance with the open meeting law.
Yeah, no, I support that. I just want to make sure that we get the details right.
Right.
Well, there were two people absent.
So
Yes.
So-
Michael was
Yeah.
not here.
Yeah,
I was also not here.
Right,
Yeah.
Garrett was not here for
Right.
that
Yeah.
vote. Beverly and Carol were here.
that's correct,
They voted against.
that's correct,
The three of us voted for.
that's correct.
So we have Garrett and Michael, whose votes are not yet taken.
Right.
So we could re-vote with a new quorum then in December?
Yes, but I see, I think it's necessary because there are members who weren't present at that meeting, who might have asked questions, who might have had some comments,
Mhm.
that, I mean, part of the reason we do this in an open meeting is to hear all opinions,
Mhm.
and that includes from abutters. I just think that that's part of the process,
Mhm.
that otherwise we're not actually having a hearing.
So you would be treating this as a continuation, essentially? That,
That's the effect of it, I think.
I guess the
Yeah.
effect of it would
Yeah.
be that, under Robert's Rules of Order, yeah.
yeah, and so if that's the case, then, I mean, Michael and I weren't there. I mean, I think we're required to go back and review the videos of the meetings
Sure.
before we can vote.
and review the plans.
How do we do that?
Because if they don't present any plans, then we have nothing for you to look at.
Don't we have a
I
set of those
think we have a
plans?
set of plans.
I think we
I'm
have- I
pretty
think-
sure we have a set
Yes,
of
we have a
plans
set
that
of
we
those
voted on.
plans, yeah.
Mhm.
So we have the plans and we have the minutes and we have it on tape.
And also, we have the plans that have been set. I think there's probably been 4 different variations of this. And so you could look at the evolution of were you here for any of those?
I believe I went to the house and maybe the
Yes,
first
that's right,
meeting.
yeah. The site visit.
Yeah, I was at 2 of the meetings, but not the site visit meeting and not the meeting where the vote was taken.
I'm not sure we have all the iterations of all the plans. I think we just have a copy of the plans that were voted on.
Well, given that that's what we're voting on,
Right.
I don't think we
Those
have
are
to, we have to see the prior iterations
So
necessarily.
those are the plans we distribute to Garrett and Michael and anyone else
Yeah,
to make sure everybody has up to
Yes.
speed.
yes. And we don't have to do this. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
like I said,
Do we have a comment from the?
It's a continuation. The person who submitted the plans must agree to that, one.
Right, but it's not a continuation.
Well, you just said maybe it is, so I'm just following this, okay.
No,
If it's
it's not a
continuation,
continuation.
It has to be to a time specific. It has to be a public hearing, not a meeting,
Mhm.
and the people who are submitting must agree to it. So you need to rethink whether this is a continuation or not. It isn't how you read it to us. It's a revote,
Yeah, it's a
A
revote.
revote.
It's a revote.
okay. You're considering whether to have a revote on the same thing that was submitted.
Very good.
And very nicely, and I think appropriately, you said that you need to send out the information, full information
Mm-hmm,
to abutters
mm-hmm,
and to the applicants that this is what you're doing.
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Betty, it could not be a continuation because it had reached the
Right,
time limit, I guess.
right.
That's why a continuation has to be approved by the applicant.
Yes, I know.
Once you meet the time limit.
Right,
it
right,
has
right.
to-
No, it's not a
Either way.
it's not a continuation. She said it is in effect a continuation, but that doesn't make it a continuation, if you know what I'm saying.
well,
In other
but,
words,
yeah, but I think we need to
misspoke.
be
There's
careful.
a defined term, continuation, and it's not a continuation, so
But I think if we open this up to changes in the plan, it's not just a revote.
Okay,
We cannot do that.
no
No.
changes in the plan, very
So-
good.
That's why
re-voting.
you have to review the plans and that would be it.
Okay.
Betty, they refused to have any kind of continuation at the end of that meeting. They did.
And so if the applicant does that, then you have to vote.
Yes,
Yep, that's
So
what
this
happened.
is a revote.
yes.
It's beyond the time, so they could easily say it's been approved automatically. All these really specific things that have to be followed. But
Well,
you've talked with the lawyers, and
It's-
the lawyer told you.
Until we revote, it's been disapproved, very clearly. But I think clearly.
It was
Did-
disapproved,
The night of the vote, it was not
but it was
approved.
an inaccurate disapproval. You cannot disapprove something with 3 votes. It has to be 4 votes.
What?
no,
No.
it's the other way
You
around.
cannot approve something with 3
Well,
votes.
What I mean is you can't disapprove something.
Yes, you can. If you look at our
there are 4
bylaws,
votes
it
in
requires
approval.
4 to approve, but it does not require, if you don't get 4, it is automatically disapproved.
Right.
That's what the bylaws say.
That's right.
Okay, so it was
if there were
disapproved.
If there were 5 people there
Uh-huh.
and 3 disapproved it, that means only 2 approved it. So it couldn't have been approved.
No, that, the opposite happened. 3 approved it. 3
Yeah.
approved and 2 did
Then
not.
it's the same concept, it has to be 4 approved.
Yeah, it failed to be approved.
It failed to be approved, and so
Right.
therefore it was disapproved.
Did they leave thinking that it was approved?
Yes.
No, they walked out of the room and then they were called back in when I found out that
They miscounted.
the vote I'd counted as a yes was a no.
Well, Rod, I think we need a little more guidance from the attorneys. So one key point is whether Michael and I,
Can vote at all.
Can vote at all.
Being here.
You would
Yeah.
have to review the tape and, review all the public input, either written or oral, given at that hearing, before you
Yeah.
would be eligible to vote on it.
yeah, but I would like to have, specific guidance from the town
Okay.
council
Okay.
about whether even that is sufficient. I
He-
mean, if we're
he-
just doing
he's
a
already-
revote,
He's already said that it is sufficient.
That's
But if you want him to repeat that again.
that people who were not at the meeting
can vote.
could vote in this revote.
Yeah.
Okay.
all public input. If there's anything written, you have to consider that.
There was nothing written.
So is this a motion then to,
Nobody's made a motion.
I'll
yet.
make a
There's-
motion then to revote on, what is it?
2038
2038 Main Road
in December's meeting
in December's meeting,
with notice to all the parties,
with notice to all the butters
butters and
And
the owners.
and the owners.
I second that.
All in favor? Wait, we're still discussing.
Yes. I still don't understand exactly what we're voting on. So what will happen at that meeting? Will comments be invited from the abutters?
I would think not.
Really?
They could be here, but I don't think we want to open this up again.
That's a hearing then.
Then it's a hearing. They could be, like you said, notified just, as a courtesy, but not officially as a legal hearing. This is just us, between us, to make a vote.
Well, then why, okay.
But so we're supposed to review all this material and then we can't have questions or ask anybody anything about it.
They're not going to be here, most likely,
Well, wait a minute.
but that's what,
That seems
Wait a
like-
minute. But if Michael and Garrett are participating in this vote, it seems that they can have questions.
Two
Well,
of us.
everything's on the record. Everything's in those tapes.
Not everything. I don't know what questions you would have asked. I
Yeah.
mean,
a question you could ask.
Betty, you have
I just,
an opinion?
isn't a revote simply a revote? It isn't a reconsideration, it's a revote. The last time the vote was inaccurate, this time you have a revote. The way I read that blurb that you put out, that's the way I read it. It's a
Okay,
revote, not a reconsideration.
Well-
You're re-voting on what you inaccurately voted for the last time, or however you want to put it.
confusedly. is
So
what
I
it was,
should,
yeah.
then I shouldn't be voting on a revote because I didn't vote the first time.
No, that's.
Yeah, that's,
That's for council.
that's,
not-
seems somewhat
That's
ambiguous.
town council stuff.
Let me
I'll-
ask the question.
Also, the item in the agenda does use the word reconsideration.
It did.
And that's,
The
that,
reconsideration of the revote.
it says reconsideration and revote.
Okay, then that's a whole different story.
So I just want to make sure we get this right.
Okay, I'll ask both those questions.
Now, there's also the time element. I mean, you know, it'd be better if we could approve something today. But we'd have to agree
You
on
could
exactly
approve
what.
something conditional, I suppose.
You don't have 4 eligible voters. You should revote that.
No, we're not going to revote. The question is about this, this proposed revote, the vote on a motion to reconsider and revote on the application for a certificate. I mean, that's the vote that I'm talking about, the vote on this
Right now.
proposed motion.
Oh, on
Yeah.
the motion.
Yeah.
Well, this is not the motion. Bill just made the motion.
Okay, so can we nail that down? I mean, exactly what we're voting on?
You can say, subject to approval by the town attorney, it can be one way or the other way, I think. No? You're shaking your head.
I think that he's got a very good point now that I read this very carefully. It is, the motion must be to reconsider and revote exactly as it's written here.
As it's written here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vote on a motion, somebody should move that, somebody should second it.
Well, the motion is to revote.
To read the
matter
whole
at the
thing.
December
This
meeting.
is written here,
Not to give
because it's town council's.
Is this the language that, that the attorney, the town attorney?
The town attorney did not draft this language. But I can call him tomorrow.
Okay, so my motion is still on the floor?
Been made and seconded.
Could you read back the motion?
Motion is to revoke the matter at the December meeting with notice given to owners and abutters.
Now, Betty, you said that you thought we couldn't vote, that we actually couldn't vote on this motion, the proposed motion, because it doesn't match what's in the agenda? Is that what you were saying? No, okay. So I think this motion would be satisfactory to me because it does not include the word reconsider.
Move to revote, yes.
Includes only the word revote, and I think that we should also seek, specific advice from the town council about about whether Michael and I can vote, and if so, what is required for us to
Okay.
to vote.
I'll ask him both those questions, but I would like to add that if the town council says that reconsideration is appropriate, that this motion includes reconsideration subject to approval by town council. Okay?
So if it's okay according to town, just to rephrase, if it's okay according to town council to reconsider, then you would like to
This motion
reconsider.
could include reconsideration, that's correct.
And what advantage do you think that has?
As I say, you and Michael might have questions or thoughts that we haven't entertained before. I think everyone's had time to reflect on this.
Mhm.
Quite frankly, I'm not sure I would vote the same way, and I would like to give my reasons, which is a reconsideration. Especially since we're required to give our
Mhm.
reasons for denying something,
Mhm.
I would have to give those reasons.
Mhm.
I mean, otherwise, you can't, we're
Mhm.
violating our bylaws that way.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, I think I'm generally in agreement, I'm just, you know, looking for the right language here. So, so you're proposing, I mean, we have language here which actually allows reconsideration.
Do you want to say, use this language and say, however, in the event that town council says that reconsideration is not appropriate, we will only revote? Is that it?
Or maybe just say that this will be done in consultation with town council.
Well,
That
I
the
want
motion may
something to
be
be able
amended.
to stand if he says no on
Mm.
reconsideration. I still want to be able to revote if that's what we decide to do.
Mhm. So can you say again that what you're proposing to add?
This language, however, such reconsideration will be omitted in the event town council deems it not appropriate. Inappropriate.
Okay, I would go along with that.
You got that, Bob?
You're only making a motion to schedule an action, you're not.
Yeah, but we have to know what action we're scheduling. It is important.
Does it make sense to do this in two motions? So one is the revote, move to revote, and the second is to reconsider, subject to town council.
We could do it that way too.
Then we have two
That's-
totally separate pieces
That's
that we're
fine.
making motions on. One is subject to council, the other is not.
Fine.
But I suggest you keep the original motion, and then in that second clause, reconsideration contingent on town council's recommendation of a reconsideration process.
Of approval of reconsideration. Yeah, that's fine.
I like that, Bob. Yeah,
Okay,
reconsideration is contingent on,
Approval by town council.
well, but that's not exactly what you said. You said the
Recommendation.
recommendations
Process.
for a process. I like that.
I
Okay.
think he's gonna tell you all those things. You've gotta do the tape, you've gotta do the input.
Mhm.
Right.
Whether
Right.
you wanna do a new public hearing, I don't think you can
No, we're not doing, okay,
continue.
okay. Very good.
So it's a motion to revote at the December meeting with notice given to owners and abutters, and reconsideration contingent on town council's recommendation of a reconsideration process.
Okay. Do we have do we have an agreement to amend this, motion? Bill?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
sure.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Are we ready to vote?
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Now to the fun part of the meeting.
Yes.
Welcome.
So, my name is Betty Slade. I have never been a member of the Historical Commission. I was told that to Garrett.
Maybe you want to be.
But through the years, I've been very closely associated as a supporter, very strongly supporter, both as, through the Neighborhood Association and also the Westbrook Point Neighborhood Association, and also through the Community Preservation Act. I also am really aware of the difficulties of being on a regulatory body. I know that it's very hard. Each one is different, but I've been to a lot of meetings, Concom and all of the zoning board of appeals, et cetera. So anyway, just wanted you to know that. So, but there are some, the Westport Historical Commission has two parts. One, you're the Historic District Commission, and the other, you're the fun part, the Historical Commission. Through the years, I've worked with the Historical Commission on subcommittees, and we bring people in from the community with their expertise, and they help the Historical Commission do the interesting things. And there are people out there like that now. As we discussed, you've lost some really important people in Westport over the last few years, losing Norma Judson, Geraldine Miller, Pete Baker, and for Jane Most to move away. So these have been very strong advocates. So there's still a few in town who will be of help, and more are popping up, as Garrett will probably mention about the work at Cabin's Neck. This is next year's the 50th anniversary of the Historic District. And it just seemed to me it would be a nice thing to celebrate that and to talk about, if you would like to lead it, and talk about how it was formed, why it was formed, how it was formed, and what's done over the years. We have some drawings of every house in the early periods. We have matrices of every house, of course. And then during the years, a group of us have gone through and updated a lot of the inventory. But that work needs to be done. So the first thing I was wondering, I have actually approached the Historical Society and the Neighborhood Association if they'd be interested. I don't know yet if they will. But I'm wondering if you all would like to celebrate this, or are you living in people's? What do you think?
I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to get down to specifics in terms of what and when, where, how, and who.
Well, you all can help make those decisions.
Right.
So if you wanted to get a couple of people on the commission together to think about that, the files are full of information about the formation of the district, the people who were involved, how it went about setting up the National Register, and so forth. So, and it was an ongoing thing for quite a few years. So if you wanted to get a couple of people, and maybe a couple of people from the community,
Mhm.
I'd certainly be glad to help. You could get others in the community who would be interested. Maybe a couple of people from the Neighborhood Association, and maybe the Historical Society could have an event.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the history of the Historical Commission, it sounds perfect for a
Right.
Historical Society event, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it sounds great. If we have some kind of programming around that, maybe it's not one thing, but maybe there's a display that's created that's for some period of time available for people to look at. If there's all this historical, these artifacts, it'd be nice to put them on display someplace.
Yeah, the town hall on the second floor where we have the coffee display, that could be used, for example. And then.
The library,
Hmm?
the library has some.
The library would be glad to do it.
Maybe we could tie it in somehow with the house tour?
The what?
The house
House
tour?
tour?
Historical
Yeah, it'd
Society
be nice
house
to have a
tour.
house tour with that sort of,
Has that house
You
tour?
could put it in, my cottage is in that, you could put everything in my cottage.
Is the, so is the house tour still running? The-
Yes, in July, in July.
And you're
July.
saying you're already signed up?
my cottage, which was the antique shop in town
Mhm.
Ah,
from 1936 to 1966, it's signed up.
good,
And the neighbor's big barn, the big Coley barn,
okay.
And do you know who's running the house tour this year?
historic society.
Historical
Always.
Society.
Yes.
So is it Jenny or is it,
Yeah,
Jenny.
yes, yes.
okay, so
And a team, she'll have a team.
a team, yeah, I'm wondering like who's on the team?
I don't know. She may not know yet. But that's one possibility. But the library is a really good idea.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Just try to get a month
right.
or a
Like
week.
pick a month and or a
Mhm.
week, and
Could have
that's
an
when
event
it's
there,
right.
Mhm.
or a couple of events, think about it.
Leading up to, having it on display, and then
Mhm.
leading up to some sort of event to commemorate. Yeah, I like the idea. I'd be happy to serve on some sort of committee that we could form
Good.
with others.
Okay,
Um,
should we form that committee here and now? Otherwise, follow-up gets difficult.
You might want to wait for you have a couple of missing
We
members.
do have two missing
I
members.
don't know. It's up to you you've got time.
Mhm. Okay.
Although time does run away.
Time runs
Yeah,
away.
it does run away.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
and you can have meetings outside of your historical commission meetings. You don't have to discuss this at meetings.
Hmm.
You can have a small team that works as long as you have less than 4
yeah,
on that team.
okay. Got it?
Okay.
Could you give me who at the Historical Society I could reach out to
Jenny?
Jenny O'Neill,
do you
she's
have
away
her
until,
data? Contact
until
data?
the end of November.
Probably.
She'll be back.
If you could send me,
I'll get it.
yeah, send me her contact data, and I could at least
Sure.
start that connection, and then we could talk about other people on our group who
Mhm.
want to join in.
There's some former historical commission members who will be interested. Shannon Cummings, for example.
Great.
Well, I do have her number, I have no contacts, how do you like that?
Great.
Okay,
I would like to get access to the Furtado files. I was told to ask you.
Yeah, I have a key.
You have the key. Just to tell you what that's all about, the Furtado was, I think, 1813 Main Road.
yeah.
Chris Skelly, who used to be with the Mass Historic Commission for many, many years, is now working privately, and he is doing a study on outcomes of attempted demolitions
Ah,
and Furtado around the state. And the Furtado case is a good outcome, in quotes. It's still there, and eventually got over it. But he's interested in following, I remember a lot of it because
it was a painful and difficult
it was,
good outcome.
it was a painful and difficult
I
and
mean,
very hard for the present owners too.
yes,
Yeah.
he should talk to them because they're still miserable
They're
about the whole
reeling.
thing,
They're
yes.
still reeling from it. It was tough, really, really tough.
Yeah.
But the building is there, and the building
What's the
is back
address?
and very similar.
What's the address?
1813. It's a building behind and in front. Okay, so going back to, there is a, I don't think I brought it with me, but, Chris Skelly is now working, I sent you the email, didn't I?
Yeah.
I think I brought it with me.
Let's see if I
But
have,
Chris Skelly, and I can sure send it to you,
yeah, got an awful lot of paper.
is now offering his services to commissions around the state for various topics. He actually came up with more details, if you could get that. Thought I brought it with me, but I think David picked it up before I got out the door. About 2004, I think, we brought people down from the Mass Historic Commission to Westport in this room, actually, to give advice to the Historical Commission, because things were not going well at the time. And several of them came, and we had 50 people attend the meeting. 50 people attend the meeting, and they talked about all kinds of topics. How to, how to run a meeting, how to add inventory, what to do about conflict of interest, and all this kind of stuff. Very successful. We actually took them to, we had a dinner for them. It was in the newspapers. It was really a big deal. Whether they're willing to do that now, again, I don't know. They have a lot of workshops now that people can attend, that you can go to. There's this listserv, the Mass Historic Commission listserv, and if you ever have a problem, like if you have a question about what are the new materials and what are other towns doing about it, what do you do if you have a slate roof and it's falling apart? There are so many experts that come on and advise you, and they'll advise you personally. It's free. I really advise everybody to be on that listserv. You can be without a problem, and I'll send it to you to let you know.
Yeah, I think Deborah and I are both on it, and it is a fantastic resource.
Isn't it fantastic?
Yeah.
It's such a great resource.
Yeah. Discussions of solar panels, of,
Right.
Roofing, of
Everything.
everything. Yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
Because all the state commissions are running into this problem. But he also is willing to come down and help deal with particular issues that towns have. And so, and I will send you that list. You couldn't find it?
I didn't come up with it. No, I can keep
I will
looking.
send you the list of the things that he suggests. For example, he can do preservation plans for the town for you. He can do guidelines. He can help you do guidelines, particularly for Westport. If you wanted to upgrade your guidelines so that it takes into account the new modern materials, these things are hitting everybody pretty hard. I mean, this one that Garrett has in the mini-split HVAC, there's been quite a bit of discussion on that, because they're unattractive. I mean, I even looked at them for my house. They're finding they don't actually work as well in these old houses as one would expect. They just don't work as well. You need a tighter house for them to work than ours are. But they sit in the middle of the road. It's like generators. They both sit right next to the house. Everybody sees them.
Well,
They're
let's-
not attractive.
Actually, that's,
Huh?
now that you're on that, let's backtrack just a minute.
Uh-huh.
There are a lot of issues that fall into that same category.
Yeah.
I don't know where we stand. For example, generators,
Yeah.
oil, propane tanks,
Yeah.
raised wells. Do we have jurisdiction on any of those things?
Anything raised above the grade.
You have a jurisdiction over it, but you haven't yet put any guidelines in
guidelines on
there,
those.
nor tried to deal with them.
I think that's the key. I think we really need his help on updating the guidelines.
Helping you update
Yes.
the guidelines.
Yeah.
And when I say update the guidelines, I'm not talking about new review authority. There's a
Right.
big difference.
No, it's this right here.
Yeah,
Right.
the new, but I just want to say that review authority, that's,
No,
All-
this is just guidelines.
I know, I know,
Yeah.
I know. But if you try to, this is separate,
It's
And it would
under
be-
what we already have jurisdiction
Right.
over, be getting more specifics in
it'd
there.
be helpful to the community, it'd be helpful to the historic district owners if they had a better idea of what it is they can and cannot do, especially with new materials.
Definitely.
Yeah,
We get-
all a new
We get phone
system.
calls all the time,
All the
and
time. So,
And the
Is that
process,
sort of requirement triggered by a building permit, so that the building department would say, well, you can't put your generator in until you talk to the commission
Yeah,
first?
he
And how do you
does, they do,
trigger that?
he does, he's very
Through
good at
Ralph
that.
Susan?
Ralph
Yeah,
is
okay.
very good at that.
So there's a permit process that gets that triggered?
if
and then-
anything comes into his office that's in the historic district,
Yeah, he
he
bounces it to us.
immediately will contact us. But he's very, very good. Ralph is really doing a
Yeah,
good
he is.
job.
yeah.
but it's only fair to the owners that you And you have to, when you do this, when you adopt new regulations, not regulations, but guidelines, you have a public hearing, everybody, and you probably have more than one public hearing. It's not
Actually-
gonna happen overnight.
I was surprised that your discussion was on mini splits. What about just air conditioners generally?
Well, yeah, I mean, this was something that came up on this Mass HISPRES mailing list, and,
Just came
and,
up.
But air
But it's-
conditioners are much bigger than mini splits.
yeah, but I mean, I think, my hope was we would just start a more general discussion about,
Outside compressors for air conditioners.
and about
or heat pumps.
guidelines, about coming up with guidelines, solar panels, we've talked about, now mini splits, the compressors,
But we're
air
talking
conditioners.
about having guidance, right? We're
Right.
having, this person, we hire this person, correct?
No.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, but he doesn't draft the language, we draft it.
You would do it together. He would help you draft it. He'd be advisor to you on it.
Okay.
He could draft them. Tell them what you want.
And he has the knowledge of what other communities put in their
Absolutely. All over the
guidelines.
state.
Hmm.
He's been in the east and in the west for years. I've worked with him for years.
Okay, how do we go ahead with this then?
We would, first of all, you have to find the money, because he's not gonna be free. So if you're interested in that.
CPC.
And maybe, I'm not sure. The other is to update the inventory. If you want, and when I say update, I mean, it has been like, so 50 years ago, so it's been 30 years really since a new building was added to the inventory. And some buildings now may be appropriate.
Right.
And so you might want to have him look at the inventory.
And some buildings never
That's
got on there, like at Cadman's Neck.
Right.
A number of
But
buildings never
50
got
years-
on there.
50 years ago, they weren't 100 years old.
You don't have to be 100 years old. It isn't the age. In Westport, we don't have that rule. It's
And
whether
actually,
or not
they-
it's considered a historic building. Mhm.
Yeah, no, you're right, they weren't 100 years, 50 years ago, they weren't 100 years
Right.
old, but, yeah, still from the
It was-
1880s,
It was
1890s.
interesting that Cadman's Neck was not included whatsoever. I was quite
Right.
shocked.
Right.
When
It's
I-
kind
But
of
there aren't,
shocking.
there are only a few buildings that
Qualify.
really seem to be, historic. I mean, it was a limited number of people working on it too, remember?
Hmm.
Right.
So we brought in for the north end, there wasn't really a lot of coverage. We brought in a woman, Kathleen Fair.
Mhm.
Using CPA funding, we funded her
Mhm.
to go to the north end. And then we did for example, they're not that old, but the Sears Roebuck buildings, all of those in town, we found 13 of them.
The
and we registered them.
the kit homes?
Kid homes,
Yeah,
kid homes, more than Sears Roebuck, but others, of course,
Mhm.
who are still there. And we've done some things privately. Norm and I did that. Tony Millen did all of the Westport factory
Hmm.
buildings there. They never were on it. So it would be good to have somebody come in who knows this thing and drive around town, with
Mhm.
one of you in particular, or two of you,
Mhm.
and see buildings that need to be added. Plus, you need to take buildings off that are demolished
Mhm.
or burned down or beyond reason. I've taken some off because you look at them and the building is inside
Mhm.
all this, so it's no longer a story. So, that kind of thing.
Maybe we need somebody who's appointed to be like the person to keep Macris up to date,
Yeah, to keep it up to date. Someone on the historic.
someone on the historical commission, yeah.
The vice chair would be the best one. Anyway, so I'll send you those lists and you look at the kinds of things you might be interested in. You have some funding.
Yeah, so getting back to the possibility of hiring Chris Skelly,
Kelly,
we do have the town farm, the Historical Commission Trust
right.
that we could use for that purpose.
How much money was in that?
I gave my
I
report to
mean,
Bob.
a few thousand.
Bob, what is the Historical Commission Trust?
WHC Trust,
Yeah,
18,690.
18,690.
Okay, so, and I will, if you're really interested in like updating the inventory and going through all of that, we could work up a project for the community preservation funding. Okay, and I'll look and see what else can be thrown into that.
Mhm.
And then you definitely can get volunteers from the community, I guarantee you.
Mhm.
A lot of people be interested, Elizabeth Grossman at least,
Mhm.
some live here, but that's okay.
Mhm.
So she's an architectural historian. So we
Okay,
have people
right.
out there like that, so, who will help.
Yeah, and I've been talking to her, with her about getting more of the Cadman's Neck buildings
Good.
on the list. And she took me on a little tour. There's some really lovely,
And
little
just out
cottages
of
over there.
curiosity, because it seems related, where are we with Gray's Grist Mill and all of that?
Gray's Mill, I haven't done anything to update that.
Okay.
They've shut it down.
It's shut down,
Those
right.
people know now.
It's shut down, yeah.
Yeah, I know they've shut it down. That's why I'm.
It
there-
has a
there- It does
30-year
have a 30,
restriction.
I know, but that's
Yeah.
30 years passes in a blink of an
I
eye.
know it does. It's already a few years.
Right. Okay.
All right, so we did the three, the rules and regulations. They were written in 2008. Jane Lose and I wrote them, basically, with help of town council.
Uh-huh.
After we finished, the town administrator at the time let me talk to town council.
Good.
So she went through and she was okay with them, but I think that, I don't know if the open meeting law has changed in any way. But you might want to look, somebody might want to look at those.
I don't think I don't think it would change anything in the current bylaws.
Mhm.
Let's put it that
But
way.
if there's anything in there that you're finding just isn't working, that you found trouble with and you want to, substitute.
Well, the thing
for
I
it.
find that most that isn't working is unfortunately in the authorizing legislation for historical commissions. So we don't have much choice.
Authorizing, what?
The state the legislation.
You mean the bylaws?
The state, but not our bylaws, the
40C?
states, the states, what, yeah.
Mm.
Because if, for example, this requirement that we have to give everybody a reason for declining their application, which is a little bit curious because everybody has their own reasons. And having some uniform reason is odd, to say the least.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I guess, okay, but I think it's reasonable to tell people why not, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't think it has to be uniform, actually. I mean, it's about why did people vote against
Right.
this? And people may have different reasons for voting against
They
it.
do have different reasons, and then when we give them the reasons, the lawsuit, they say, oh no, you're using statutory language. You have to give other language. I'm saying, of course I'm using statutory language. That's the appropriate reason.
Hmm.
I mean, give me a break.
But generally, it has to do with size and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff. There's some pretty standard
Yeah,
reasons. But for the other things, like these new things that are coming in, they're not new generators and all of that, that's a whole new cup of tea.
Mhm.
So I don't know what people are doing in other communities about that, but Chris would know, Chris.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's gonna be really helpful, so let's get him down here.
Yes.
He's a
Yeah.
good guy too.
And it's clear from Mass His Pres that people all over the state are struggling
Well,
with
it's
with
dealing
these
with the same
issues,
issues.
He's
right? So,
struggling all over the state.
yeah, and so it'd be great to get someone who's, yeah,
Especially new materials, you're running into that, with like windows, the whole
Mhm.
concept of windows,
Well,
how
we're
important windows are.
We're
what
doing
you
pretty
use
well
with
in
the
terms of
windows.
getting that nailed down on the windows,
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
but it's taken effort.
yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I wonder, is it reflected in our guidelines yet? Because, that would be another
It
thing.
is, it may not be to the extent, we may have refined it from what we've got on the guidelines. I haven't looked at it recently.
I think we've also been shifting on
Well, I think we did
fiberglass.
refine it to the
gutters.
point where
Yeah.
the SDL window, I think, is in that.
Yeah, we've got a good hunk here on windows.
This was rewritten by
Yeah, neat.
Geraldine and Rudd. What was the date on that?
What is the date on this?
There's a date on the front, I believe.
2017,
Yeah.
not so long ago. Anyway,
And the whole issue, if you want to add review authority, you have to go to town meeting. The question is, do you want to get into that can of worms? I know that the last time I was there at the neighborhood association meeting when it came up, it was very hard on the people there who were representing the commission, and things may have changed a little bit,
Hmm.
but I don't know.
Well, that was a very important change that we were trying to make. Roofing
roof
materials and also
walls and
fences.
fences.
And we weren't received very well.
No, I'm afraid the Trump ethos has grown since then. Whatever that may be.
Well, it wasn't allowed in the first place, so it was denied at the first town meeting, so these particular elements were not put into the local bylaw.
You mean, you
Town
got,
meeting, the commission at that time
yeah,
realized that the people at the point would not vote for these.
really,
And that's 1974.
uh-huh.
And so at town meeting, they were, we did go back and do one change from street to way.
Hmm.
That was huge.
That got the water in,
change.
yeah,
Hmm.
and the bridge,
Huge
yeah.
change, yeah. So, but other than that,
Well, at that town meeting, we were very much helped by the neighborhood association. That's what really helped us.
that's, well, yeah, yeah. I don't know today, but that's all I have to say.
Betty, how about membership? One of our big problems is membership. We don't have alternates at this point.
Yeah.
And what's your suggestion for getting more people?
You have some requirements on, some of the members have to be certain things, like an architect, you need an architect, are you the architect?
He's an architect.
Hmm?
Yes, he
You
is
have
an
to have
architect.
you're supposed to have a real estate person.
You try to have
You
this,
do.
it's, yeah.
So you could try in that community, outside of the neighborhood, if you could get people from outside of the district, it could be easier.
Well, yeah.
And if and as I said, it's just being the historic district commission, nobody wants to be just a regulatory, they wanna do nice things for the town. And that's if you if you're doing some of these other things that are interesting, like surveys and, some people like that kind of stuff.
Well,
Events and so forth.
I can't see people jumping.
Always
into-
hard to get people to join regulatory bodies, but there are people out there. But you have 7 members, that's pretty good.
yeah.
You can have up to, how many?
7,
7,
and then alternates. We can have infinite alternates. Infinite.
well.
Yeah.
So you can have a different one at each meeting.
We could.
Offer that, they might come.
Well, we've always had alternates. I mean, until now, we don't. So I know that our members try to talk to people and get people interested in it. Certainly I do. And, but we still don't have any alternates. And we lost some people too.
Mhm.
Let me think about it, see what I can do. Got a couple people that might be interested. Be good to get another architect,
Be
get a
great.
real estate person.
Hey, it'd be
That'd be
great
helpful.
to get, for example, Jeff Wade, but
Yes,
he's not interested.
No,
you could work on him better.
he knows what he wants.
I just wanted to pass these pictures around. These are pictures that somebody posted on Mass His Pres of the mini splits, and so the issue that they were focused on was these pipes that run up the outside of the house.
Well, wait, where's the compressor on this?
Well, you don't
It
see
seems
the
to be coming
compressor.
from the basement.
Yeah, I don't, or from underground somewhere, but the issue is that the pipes can run either inside the house, or they can run up the outside of the house. And of course, the contractors would much rather just do it on the outside because it's easier for them.
Of course,
But they're quite ugly.
yeah.
And so an example guideline that people have been talking about on Mass His Pres is, just require,
The conduits to be on the inside.
yeah, require the conduits to be on the inside. Other people might want to see it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's a simple guideline.
Right.
But then also, the compressors, there's one picture there, I think, where there's a compressor that's hidden by a really ugly plastic fence.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So,
Well, we've dealt
Unfortunately, we
with
don't-
air conditioners, I mean, it's no different than an air conditioner, the compressor's the same.
right,
But what about the kind that are on the walls,
the window air conditioners, or the ones that are set into the wall?
they're
Yeah, I think mostly they're doing mini splits now.
the
So
mini split?
yeah,
Oh,
the
okay,
compressor's
yeah.
on the ground,
Yeah,
they
okay.
they run the piping up the
Well, we don't
outside.
have any authority over window air conditioners because they're temporary.
They're temporary, right.
But if somebody cut a hole in the wall, you would have something to say
Right.
about that.
Right.
One other thing that I would like the commission to consider is, as you know, the town farm is on a 99-year lease, but it does not have a historic preservation restriction on it.
Really?
There's no restriction.
Wow.
And,
Now, who's it on, leased to,
pardon me?
It's leased, who's it leased to?
Trust.
The trustees of reservation.
Okay,
Um,
even though they vacated.
No, they're there.
Well,
They have some, but they're not there all the time.
they
And
basically
the
vacated.
pantry, town pantry is going over there, and it's gonna raise its own food over there.
Okay.
And the historical society is there for that. But it's just the whole property
Mhm.
that it would be really, in Geraldine's good way to put a preservation restriction on that. I know it's 99 years,
Yeah, but
like 90 years
because
left.
once we're adding stuff, it's easy to add that as
Something to
well.
think about. And another real historical thing in Westwood is Paul Cuffey and Michael Wayner, as you know, absolute advocate for them. And I'm hoping that we can be naming something after Paul Cuffey in particular, something important in Westport. There are 3 schools around the country named after him.
But not
There's the
here.
Paul Cuffey Park. There's the Maritime.
Where's the Paul Coffey Park? Is that
in-
New Bedford?
At New Bedford Whaling Museum.
Okay, well, that,
And the Maritime Academy just named a room, the Paul Cuffey Center for Inclusion, was just dedicated. Beautiful speech by the Admiral. It's happening everywhere, but not in Westport.
Coffey Library, there we go.
Yeah. Well, anything that's got a Westport name in it, Westport logo, I think people hesitate. We tried with the schools, as you know, haven't gotten very far.
I bet have
So
you
the
tried with the
other-
library?
Other, could be the
Hmm.
library. All right,
Okay,
thank you guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
for all your work. It isn't easy.
Any comments from the public? You guys?
Interesting. Thanks, Patty. That was very interesting.
Okay. Do we have any I think we covered monitors' reports, no, we got no more. Do we have any, I don't know about applications, because Caroline isn't here.
Well, Carol,
Oh, you're here,
Carol and I worked together
I'm
on
sorry.
these two pieces that came in.
okay?
In her absence, she trained me through the process
So
to do
you're
these
fully
two.
trained now, at least.
Well,
Almost fully
I'm
trained.
still an intern,
Okay,
in my
good,
opinion.
Good, this is wonderful.
These were both certificates of non-applicability because of what they proposed, which was basically repair. And the first one, this was 1973 Main Road, Nils Bruzelius.
Yes, Niels.
And Carol and I went and looked at what he was proposing together. He has he has to repair a tar section of its porch roof. And it's on the east elevation, not visible from the public way. So Carol and I both agreed, and you signed in absentia a certificate of non-applicability, and that's been filed, and he's been notified, and it's been delivered to the building department. So that's all set.
Yeah.
The other one was a certificate of non-applicability for 1904 Main Road, which was Dick and Sherry Duncan. And they are, again, repairing the dormer trim on the north side of the structure, like for like. They're just fixing the trim. So, and they actually supplied pictures too.
What is the trim, I was gonna
So
say.
they actually did give us a picture of what they're
It's-
doing.
it's-
And it was
it's-
pretty obvious that it's like for like, so.
Is it wood, is it AZAC? I don't even know what's there now.
They didn't say what was there now, but they said it would be painted the same color, and it would be, they said
Gosh,
like
you
for
know,
like.
I
Should we
think that we might just give them
inquire?
a call and say,
What are they using
What's
for
the
material?
material?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll call them and find out what the material is.
yeah. I mean, it looks like a more recent dormer, so it could be AZAC.
Could be AZAC or Acre, a couple different products out
Yeah.
there that look like wood when they're installed.
And
They
if
just have
it's,
to be
if
nailed
it is,
down.
I mean, if it's currently wood and they're proposing to use AZAC,
That would need
That
a,
would need our approval,
that would need approval,
yeah,
that would need a certificate of appropriateness.
that's correct.
Okay, so I'll find out the material and see if we need to change this to a CA instead of CNA.
I hear you.
I wonder if we could, see, one of our problems with the certificates of non-applicability is we
Requiring like
develop,
for like,
well, we have a system, this is prior to me, everyone had to come before a hearing. So we were trying to expedite that, and now we have the clerks are looking carefully and making a decision on this. Now, as far as that material, when they're replacing a gutter and a cornice, I think we should maybe put in the guidelines that PVC trim is allowed, so we don't have these people coming to us all the time.
just for PVC trim, you're saying?
I mean, if it's Acre or
It doesn't matter,
AZAC, that
it's all
we
the
can
same.
approve that
Right.
without coming before us?
I
Well,
would
we
say,
haven't done that
We
yet.
haven't done it yet.
We haven't voted on that, we haven't put that in the guidelines. But it sounds like a good idea to me.
well, when they say like for like, we're talking about wood for wood, and that becomes, since we've allowed AZAC in the.
Or, you know, maybe what we should do is have a category, you have like for like, or substitution of an approved material.
That's a good
And
one.
it wouldn't just be AZAC, it might have to do with fiberglass gutters instead of wood, if they have the same
Right.
profile, that kind of thing.
yeah, I think that's
I
a
think
good
that
idea.
could simplify, then people wouldn't have to come before us and they wouldn't feel so burdened.
Mhm.
Well, there's the problem. It's to expedite this, because you get this, and I get the calls from the building inspector and the people calling me, because Ralph refers them to me, and Rudd.
Right.
They want to get going, and it's usually a contractor that's calling,
Right.
and they get very frustrated, and we want to make sure that the historic district, that we're working for the people and trying to make the project go well.
Mhm.
And I think that's worked out well,
Mhm.
as far as the fee, you know, we don't want to, we want people to feel good about the district, and people generally are. I mean, they'll say, we want to do what's right. And so getting it done quickly, signing off on it, I think, is in our interest.
Mhm.
Public relations.
And also not taking up time at these meetings that we don't need to take up.
Exactly, exactly.
And they're only once a month, so it takes a while to get into the queue.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
So how do we actually
That-
update
that's-
the
that- well,
guidelines
that has
to
to
make
do
that?
with
Well,
our,
that's what-
that has to do with our new materials addition or amendment to the guidelines, I think,
Mhm.
Yeah, and if we could get this guy, Chris Skelly,
to help us with that. That's.
to help us, I mean, he might,
You might know it's done elsewhere.
yeah, he'll know it's, right, I mean, other commissions have dealt with all the issues that we're dealing with,
There's
so.
a solar issue too.
I have actually, in addition, I want to, well, when you're at that point, I have some progress on solar research.
Well, are we up to new business? You wanna?
Sure. So I've been in contact with this company that's based in Beverly, Massachusetts. They are the sole distributor for solar shingles on the entire eastern seaboard practically. They go from upper Maine all the way to the Cape, and they have that territory. This product is made by a very large roofing company, Landmark Certainty. They're very well known, and they make regular asphalt shingles, but they've branched into solar. And they've been doing solar shingles, but this newest product is just now becoming available, and it's in other states. It's already been approved in New England, but Massachusetts is a little bit more complicated to get this shingle approved. They're finally at the point where the shingle is approved in Massachusetts. They're willing to come and show us the product with pictures, the actual shingle itself. It's a very low profile.
What about pricing?
Well, they're
That's
gonna
been-
give
that's
us
been the
actually
issue, up
an
to-
example.
yeah,
They're gonna
okay.
give us an example. I volunteered my house
Okay.
to use as a measurement, and
Uh-huh.
they already came and did this laser measurement of the roofs and how many kilowatt hours they could produce with some number of shingles. And then you can titrate that to the number that might be more affordable, or, you don't need to cover 100% of your electrical need, but some
Right.
percentage of it. So once you have the total, you can then back off of that number.
Right.
So they're gonna do a whole, analysis that they've undertaken already. They've started.
Great.
They will be ready by the December meeting, so I'd like to propose that they come and present to us and educate us
Sure.
about their product, and we can all learn
Mhm.
with a real example of what it would cost, what it would look like, pictures.
How it would
and
blend with
see what
other,
it looks like.
with other shingles, if you've got two roofs
If
next to
you
each
have
other.
Exactly.
What one that has it, one that doesn't.
Right, and if you have a dark shingle already,
Mhm.
it blends in quite well.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
it's a way to, see if we can create a guideline that, and we'll see what the cost is, obviously, but this might be a product that people could look to who want to really do solar.
Yeah.
So we can look at it
Good.
and get
Yeah,
educated.
That's
That's
great,
great.
Great.
So
Yeah,
we'll
thank
get a
you.
presentation next month.
yeah.
We should advertise that,
No,
right?
the
And
one
Yeah,
thing-
so-
the
let
one thing you
people
should just be
know.
aware is they have to come after whatever hearing
Yes.
we're doing. And
Regular
we don't.
business.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
And they're aware of that.
Okay.
Hopefully, it won't be too long of a meeting before we get to new business, but hopefully they'll,
Let's see.
So it'll be on the agenda, and yeah, we can publicize it through the through the neighborhood
Betty
association.
and her list,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think maybe we have to be a little careful not to say that we're sanctioning this product,
No, it's an
But
educational.
but it's an educational
event.
thing,
Right.
yeah, because,
Give us
Or
all a
write
chance to
their
ask
guidelines
questions.
around this product
Well,
solely.
they're providing a particular brand, but we are just saying the concept of a solar shingle.
Yeah.
Right.
and we're just exploring it ourselves. I mean,
Yes.
it may look terrible,
It's not an
Right.
endorsement.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe too shiny.
and we may
so-
say, no,
Right.
that's not okay,
Right.
but it's
It's a chance to vet a product that's real and that's out there
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
available. So,
So should we actually be inviting the public to that?
That's,
I don't know.
yeah, that's what I'm a little nervous
I
about.
wouldn't do that.
no.
I mean, it'll be on the agenda, so anybody who looks at the agenda
Well,
will see
we're
it.
not
but-
allowed to do anything unless it's by subcommittee of 3 people or less. Outside of a public meeting, quite
Right.
frankly.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
someone,
this.
someone in the neighborhood association
And
might,
if it's at the end of the agenda, the room may look like this.
We just us.
But I do think, I do think that announcing it to the neighborhood association would be good.
Just that we're hearing, we're
Yeah.
hearing from. I mean, it doesn't, I don't,
Yeah, it has to be worded so it's not an endorsement.
Right,
It's
right.
just
we're
educational.
just hearing about it.
There'll be a presentation
You're right.
at the December meeting regarding,
A company that's
Solar.
offering a new solar shingle product.
right,
Bingo.
People will read that any way they wanna read it.
Right.
yeah.
Oh my god, look what we can use now.
Well, they'll see our reaction if they come to the meeting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
See if it's something we like or not.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, we have to look into these things.
And
and-
one other bit of new business. Bob may not be with us much longer. And so gonna have to find someone to take his role, and we're gonna miss him very much. So,
we are, yes.
so we're all, right.
Where are you going, Bob?
It's not worth it to him.
Okay.
That's
So-
new business also, I guess.
So one thing I should mention, so I asked who does it for the other commissions, and apparently Maria isn't interested in taking on any more, but Paula does the selectmen, and maybe we could talk to her, so I will. That's it, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Like-
I
like-
think
wait,
Michael
wait,
has
wait.
new business.
We are currently taking bids for the work to be done on the town farm,
Uh-huh,
which I don't know that it's going very well, because people don't really want to bid on the project.
Huh.
It closes on November 15th, so we're hoping to get 3 bids.
yeah,
But all the people that were initially interested in it are no longer interested because of some sort of thing they have to do with the way they pay people. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now, but that's sort of decided for a lot of people that they didn't want to take part.
Probably get
So that
paid.
was the only reason?
No, well, I mean, people didn't, I mean, not that many people, there were 6 people that were sort of interested, so we'll see what happens.
So,
We based our bid off of one particular company that was interested in doing it a year ago, and then it's taken this long to get the money and get everything sort of lined up, and then when I shared the information with them, they instantly said, "Oh, no, thank you, we don't want to do that." So
what
we
is
may
this?
have to put it out to bid again in the spring if nothing works out this time. But the money's there for whenever we do find somebody that will do it.
And they said no because the budget was too low?
No, I can't remember what it is.
It may have to do with the
It's-
timing of the payments, that they get paid after completion or something.
It has something to do with the way they pay their employees,
Oh,
like balanced or I don't know. It's not worth my trying.
Oh,
to
it's an accounting
recall it.
concept.
Hmm.
Okay, got it.
Let's see if I can sort of find it on my laptop. Yeah. Oh. Does anyone remember the name of the woman who works in the office who does all that accounting stuff? We have an email from her.
Nicole, the town accountant?
No,
The town clerk?
I don't.
Well, you could forward it to us when if you
Yeah.
find it.
Yeah.
Because it'd be kind of, probably something we should know about, I suppose, maybe.
Anyway. Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Anything else? Any other new business?
Motion to
Yep.
adjourn.
I'm delighted by the way that you're coming up to speed.
oh, thank you.
Yes, we are.
These were pretty easy. These weren't too complicated, but I'm getting my
Okay,
lessons.
sorry, motion to adjourn, you said.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.